Everything is as it should be. 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 Everything is as it should be.
I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the
Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be.
lamps. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory.
Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be.
No, things most definitely are not what they should be.
Christ was born across the sea, with our glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make
Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is fiction.
This is Parody.
This is my God-given constitutional right to use my artistic voice as a form of protest against those that have chose to roll back progression and to marginalize others, all in the pursuit of their definition of great.
And this is Radio Free Dixie, the voice of liberalism in the made great again South. From the Ozarks and the Kentucky hills, down to the bayous and the Gulf of Mexico shores, from Texas to the Carolinas and Maryland, down to Florida.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed.
Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside.
The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
It is 1:15, and this is Radio Free Dixie, the voice of liberalism in the made great again South. From the Ozarks and the Kentucky hills down to the bayous and the Gulf of America shores. From Texas to the Carolinas and Maryland down to Georgia, but not Florida. Never Florida. We would like to thank the U.S. representative from Texas's 30th Congressional District and U.S. representative from Vermont's at-large Congressional District for standing up for marginalized Americans and standing up for empathy and common decency on the floor of Congress, confronting U.S. representative for Georgia's 14th Congressional District for her reprehensible behavior. Georgia, you can do better. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by.
Who has inflicted this upon us? Who has made us Jews different from all other people? Who has allowed us to suffer so terribly up till now? It is God that has made us as we are, but it will be God, too, who will raise us up again. If we bear all this suffering, and if there are still Jews left when it is over, then Jews, instead of being doomed, will be held up as an example. The president's history is filled with troubling remarks about immigrants, particularly those from Mexico and South America. I remember hearing him say that Mexico wasn't sending their best and accusing them of bringing crime and drugs. It's hard to forget comments like that, especially when they're amplified by his followers. He even questioned whether a judge could be impartial because of his Mexican heritage. And then there was the whole birther conspiracy about President Obama, which was completely false. It's all just so much negativity and misinformation. I can't imagine how scary it must be to be an immigrant right now, regardless of their legal status. Whether they have their papers, are seeking asylum, or entered the country without authorization, the constant threat of deportation must be terrifying. I've read reports of families living in constant fear, limiting their activities, and even avoiding essential services like healthcare. Some immigrants are even afraid to go to work. It's heartbreaking to think that people are living in such fear. The president and his followers have demonized immigrants, claiming they take jobs from real Americans and are involved in cartels and gangs. But data shows that immigrants often fill unmet labor needs and don't actually displace U.S.-born workers. And then there's the increase in harassment and crimes against Latin Americans. It feels like there's so much hate and division being spread. I keep hearing about these false rumors about employers calling ICE on their workers, which are designed to spread fear. It's so harmful because it makes people distrustful and afraid. It also leads to the roundups of immigrants. The frequency of American citizens and legal residents being stopped and even detained is alarming. In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. If I look up into the heavens, I think that it will all come right, that this cruelty too will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again. Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl.
It is 1/2 the hour, and this is Radio Free Dixie, the voice of liberalism in the made great again South. From the Ozarks and the Kentucky hills down to the bayous and the Gulf of America shores. From Texas to the Carolinas and Maryland down to Georgia, but not Florida. Never Florida. We ain't that inclusive. Before we resume our programming, we are looking for information on Ms. Annabeth Watson, the librarian from Mississippi who was detained and questioned for refusing to pull Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird from the shelves for having DEI themes and proclaiming that is why people read it, to understand the purpose of DEI. Now a word from Jesse Davidson, Jr.
All right, folks. Let's talk about something serious. You know, during the War of Northern Aggression, the wealthy plantation owners, the ones who actually benefited from slavery, they used to scare the rest of y'all into supporting them. They did it by saying if those darn Yankees took away their slaves, the whole Southern economy would collapse, and even poor white folks would be out on the streets. They said slavery was the greatest material interest in the world, and without it, commerce and civilization would just crumble. They wanted you to believe you had a stake in keeping things exactly as they were, even if you didn't own a single slave. Now, does that sound familiar to anyone? Think about the way some folks are talking about the economy these days, especially when it comes to immigrants. They're saying immigrants are stealing your jobs. They're saying trade is bad and that other countries are taking advantage of us. It's the same old song and dance. They want you to be scared so you'll support their policies. Policies that mostly help the folks at the top, not you. Remember how the Confederates told you the abolition of slavery would lead to widespread job losses, reduced property values, and a decline in the overall Southern economy? How did that turn out? And just like back then, they're using states' rights as an excuse. They say the federal government is overreaching, that states should be able to decide things for themselves. But what happens when those states' rights are used to hurt people, to discriminate, to keep folks down? We saw what happened with segregation, didn't we? It's the same playbook, different actors. They keep yelling about how the South will crumble without their protection. Well, it is time to wake up and realize that the only thing crumbling is their power, and the only thing they are protecting is their wallets. Y'all, the South has a history of being on the wrong side of progress, and we've been the laughingstock of the nation because of it. From same-sex marriage to education, it feels like this region is always fighting a losing battle. Do you want to keep being the butt of jokes for those late-night talk show hosts? Are we really going to let them keep saying that here in the South, a gay couple can't marry but you can marry your cousin? For once, let's get on the right side of history. Don't let fear and prejudice guide your decisions. Don't let them play you for fools again. It is time for a new South, a South that is not a joke.
Artist's statement. Radio Free Dixie, birthed in the tumultuous year of 2025 by the tremulous hand of S.M. Beaumont, ain't nothing but a fragile act of defiance, honey. A desperate whisper against the thunderous reign of U.S. President 47. This here parody, a twisted echo of Radio Free Europe, a fever dream born of silenced voices, was ignited by his cruel snuffing out the flame of Voice of America. It's a wound in the heart of truth, ain't it? A vital news outlet, gone with the wind, leaving folks in the dark where press freedom is just a ghost story. This piece imagines a flickering resistance broadcast aimed like a poisoned arrow at the hearts of his most ardent believers. The southern middle and upper middle class, those delicate southern women clinging to their pearls and prejudices. We ain't here to rewrite their Bibles, sugar. We're here to remind them that this grand old South, this fractured Eden, was built on a shaky foundation of both liberal tears and conservative stubbornness. President 47, bless his heart, is stealing the sunlight from everyone but his own kind, those wealthy, entitled men who believe the world owes them a mint julep and a silent wife. As a southern creature twisted by both the venom and the honey of the LGBTQ+ experience, S.M. Beaumont offers a perspective as thorny as a rosebush in July, seeing the world from both sides of the Mason-Dixon. Florida, that shimmering mirage of retirees and sunburned dreams, is conspicuously absent. Not out of spite, darling, but out of sheer bewildering complexity. Its demographics shift like sand dunes in a hurricane. If simple disdain was the measure, then Texas, bless its heart, would be left to choke on tumbleweeds and regret. Voice of America, that forgotten beacon of hope, was born in the ashes of World War II, a desperate attempt to drown out the Nazi lies. Fear and manipulation, like kudzu, have always choked the life out of progress in the South, leading us down the paths of secession, civil war, and the bitter harvest of segregation. Radio Free Dixie is but a small, desperate act, using the gaudy spectacle of visual and performance art to lash out at American injustice, a rebellion as fragile as a butterfly's wing. Oppressive governments like venomous snakes have always sought to silence the artists, the poets, the truth-tellers, for fear of losing their iron grip. Made in no small part with the cold, calculating accessibility assistance of AI, a bitter pill to swallow for an artist clinging to her humanity. But darling, let us not forget, oppression and censorship are the most unforgivable sins, the ultimate act of cruelty. To crush a human thought, to silence a voice, is to spit in the face of the Creator himself, for he gifted us with understanding, and to deny that gift is to damn us all.